Got a letter from a man in deep. Said his house ain't a home and he's losing sleep. Wife cold as steel, vibe off track. Asked me how the hell to get his edge back.
What's going on, guys? We have a good sponsored video for you today. My man wrote in and he said, I wanted to sponsor an episode because honestly, I'm at a point where I just don't get it anymore. And I figured if anyone could help make sense of this, it's you. That's true. That's true. I'm your guy. He says, so here's my deal. I'm doing all right on the apps, getting matches, having good conversations, and I've actually gotten pretty good at moving things off the app and setting up dates. That part isn't the problem. The problem is what happens after. Well, you're actually doing pretty good so far. A lot of guys aren't getting matches, and if they do, they can't get these women to meet up. So the fact that you're getting matches tells me that your pictures are probably pretty good, your bio is probably pretty good. And if you're able to get these women to meet up, then you're actually probably not messing around too much, texting and stuff like that. And you're good at closing. So that's good. Because that's really like the key to dating apps, right? So now, yeah, this next part's a challenge for a lot of guys. And I was in this position too. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. He says, I go on these dates and I think they go well, like genuinely well. Good conversations. She's laughing. Seems like she's having a good time. So at the end of the night, I'll try to lock in the next date right there. I figured she's in a good mood. The vibe's there. Why wait? Well, this is actually your first mistake, brother. It's a good rule of thumb not to set next dates while on your current date. She could do this, right? If she brings up, hey, we should do this again sometime. Like, are you free Wednesday? Like, set the date right there, but don't be the one setting the date while you're on your current date. Okay. It makes you seem like a guy who has no other options. Okay. I don't think a lot of guys realize that. I think because most guys are sniper dating, right? You're just going one girl at a time. You're thinking she's only going one guy at a time, but that's not how women date at all. Right. But a lot of guys date that way. And so if you're pushing for the next date while you're on this current date, it subcommunicates that you don't have any other options. Okay. We'll talk about why that's a problem here in a little bit. He says, a lot of the time she says, yeah, sounds good. Then I text her the next day or two later to follow up and it just fizzles out. She goes cold. I don't understand what the change was. So here's the thing. Women, they don't want to apply for a job no other woman wants, right? Like women will never admit this, but women like men that other women like, right? We call this pre-selection. Now, there's a guy in the space, I'm not going to name names, but there's a guy in the space that says that pre-selection only works when you're surrounded by hot chicks all the time. And these in the women that you like have to see you around these other women. That's just not true. That's just not true. Because a guy who's good with women can just tell, right? They can tell by your actions and how you show up that you are probably pretty good with women. If you're good with them and you're not needy and you're confident and all this kind of stuff, they assume that you're probably pretty good with other women. That's why they'll ask you like how many other women did you take here? Or how many women are you seeing right now? Like because in their hindbrain, they're thinking this guy must be good with women. Right. And that actually boosts their attraction. They actually like that you're good with other women. Right. And a lot of guys downplay this. I'm not seeing any other women because they think that easing that competition anxiety makes them feel better, but it actually doesn't. It kills attraction. So by you pushing for that next date while on the current one, you're just telling her, I don't have any other options. You're my only option. Can I take up all your time, lady? Right. Women are also repelled by neediness, right? If you guys ever read the book by Mark Manson, Models, which is it's one of those dating books that a lot of guys swear by. Like a lot of guys would say that Models is probably in their holy trinity of dating books, right? I thought it was a pretty good book, but my biggest takeaway from that book is not being needy, right? His whole book is on demonstrating non-neediness, right? And so by not asking for the next date while you're on your current one, you're demonstrating non-neediness, okay? And this is a big problem for the average frustrated dater out there because because they're sniper dating, right? They're going all in, one girl at a time. I got a live one here. Let's try to reel this one in. And then they don't try to pursue any other women. And that is a recipe for disaster. They put all their eggs in one basket, and that never works out. And yeah, and women, like I said before, women don't date that way. Okay. I often say on the podcast, men spin plates, right? Like women just call it dating, but women are natural plate spinners. They date with a roster. They're looking for their best possible option. They're not necessarily sleeping with all these guys, but they're weighing their options, trying to find their best possible option. That's what hypergamy does. That's what their instinct is to do. Right. But men have been conditioned to sniper date, to just do one girl at a time, to treat every girl that you're talking to like you're exclusive. And that just kills attraction, because women can sense that you don't have any other options. Right. So you need to act as if that you do, at least until you build up a roster, and then you don't have to act. You actually do have options. Right. But until you build up that roster, you have to act like a guy. You have to think about like how a guy who has a roster of women, what he would do, right? You wouldn't be pushing for the next date on your current date if you were dating 3 other women, because that would be in the back of your mind. Like, oh, I can't, like I'm going to see Kathy on Wednesday and I'm going to see Judy on Thursday. Like we'll just see how things go with this chick, right? Like that's how you would act if you truly had a roster. But because you don't, and you're sniper dating, you're like, I got to occupy all of her time. Like I'm trying to move the needle here. And it actually is, it backfires. It doesn't work that way. The other thing I've been doing, and I genuinely thought this was the move, is I ask her early on what she likes to do, what her favorite spots are, what kind of food she's into. Then I plan the next date around that. I'm thinking I'm being thoughtful, showing her I listened, but something about it isn't landing the way I expect to. Yeah, it's a terrible strategy, brother. That's a terrible strategy. And 97% of guys are doing this, right? 97% of guys don't make a plan. They ask women what they like to do. Where do you like to go? What do you like to do for fun? And then when it comes to setting up a date, the guy tries to invite her to go do something that she likes. The funny thing about women is that women don't want to make decisions. They don't. They in fact, if they're a boss babe at all, they probably spend all day making decisions at work. And the last thing they want to do is spend their dating time making more decisions, right? That's what they really do want, a guy that sets the tone and leads. So she doesn't want to go do what she wants to do, right? She could do that anytime. She wants to have an adventure with this new, exciting guy. Okay. They just want to show up looking hot. So I recommend guys have a go-to place. This place so you don't have to think about it. Because that's the thing too, is a lot of guys want to leave up the decision-making to the woman because they don't have any idea of what to do either. Just keep it simple, okay? Find a cool bar in the area where you're typically dating. And if there's a couple of different areas you date in, like for me, because I live out in the middle of nowhere, I had to drive to Grand Junction. Like all the women were almost all in Grand Junction, or they're all in Montrose, okay? Like that's if you guys Google Montrose and Grand Junction, Colorado, you'll have an understanding of where I'm at, because I'm right in the fucking middle, okay? In the middle of nowhere. And so I would have a go-to place in Junction, which was the Feisty Pint. And then I had a go-to place in Montrose, which was the Horsefly. And so if it was a chick, that I swiped on in Grand Junction, I would say, okay, cool. Like, when are you free to get together? All right, perfect. Meet me at the Feisty Pint Thursday night, 7 p.m. Okay. I had a go-to place. I didn't have to think about it. Okay. And then when you go to the same place every time, it builds muscle memory. Okay. And, repetition is the mother of skill. So to get better at dating, just like anything else in life, you need to practice it, which means go out with some slut busters every once in a while. Like, don't try to avoid catfish. Okay. Go on catfish dates and use it as an opportunity for banter and practicing body language. It could be over after one drink. You're not, breaking the bank. And that's why I say, like, take these chicks out for drinks only, because you're just seeing if you like them or not. You're not trying to, you're not trying to make them like you. You're trying to see if you even like these chicks or not. So don't be taking them out to fancy dinners. Don't be taking them out for long fucking hikes somewhere. Don't be taking them out. Don't go to the movies. Like, movies is a terrible idea. You can't get to know someone in a silent movie theater, right? That's a terrible idea. You don't want to take them on these like expensive, theme park adventures and shit like that, where like you're a lot of you guys are leading with your wallet that way, trying to impress these chicks, and it's like it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. You might not even like them, and they might ghost you afterwards. So don't waste your money on that kind of shit. Just do drinks only. Keep it low investment. It could be over after one drink. And if things are going good, then have a second venue down the street where you can play pool or darts or anywhere where you can stand up and start the process of Kino escalation. And the reason why we do this is because women will sleep with you by the second or third date on average, right? So if you have a second venue that you go to, it's like a mental hack, right? It's like an NLP trick where they feel like they've been on 2 dates with you already because you've taken them to a second venue. All right. So that speeds up that process. And so that's what we want to do. But we really want to keep things low investment. We're not trying to buy dinners. If things are going well and, you take her to the second venue and she's all handsy and stuff because you're playing distraction pool, you can order an appetizer if you want, like you don't have to be super stingy with it. But you want these chicks to earn more expensive type treatment. Okay. You don't want to lead with that shit out the gate. Okay. So have a go-to place and have a second venue down the street so you can do the 2 dates in one hack. And then when you're done with the second venue, you want to be the one that ends dates first. It's a power move. Okay. You are setting the tone and leading from the beginning. So you want to be the one that says, hey, look, I had a lot of fun tonight, but, I have an early date tomorrow, or I have an early day tomorrow. So we better settle up and get out of here. Walk her back to her car and always go for a kiss. If you like her, always go for a kiss. Now, if things are going well at the second venue and she's, really all over you and stuff like that, kiss her there. Okay. But always go for a kiss no matter what. And if she isn't showing overt signals, then at least give her a kiss when you go to take her to her car, because that will tell you everything you need to know. That'll tell you if she likes you or not. If she doesn't want to kiss you, if she, if she's like, oh, I don't kiss on the first date or anything like that, just don't call her again. Okay. Like, it's not a big deal. Don't get hurt by it or anything like that. Just be like, okay, cool. No problem. And just lose her number. Okay. But you'll find that a vast majority of women like a guy who makes a bold move like that, and they'll be putty in your arms, right? There was only like 2 times that didn't work out well for me. Okay. And even that, there was only one where the chick was like, she was like, oh no, not, and that was like during COVID or something. And other than that, like all these other chicks were pretty cool with it. You know what I mean? Nurse chick was like, oh fuck. Oh, fuck. She goes, nurse chick left our first date and went to go hang out with her friend. And she's like, nurse chick ended up getting low census. And she's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I really like this guy and stuff. And her friend's like, well, call him up and see what he's up to. And she's like, really? You think so? And she's like, yeah, what else you got to do? So nurse chick calls me up. Hey, I don't have to work. What are you up to? And stuff like that. And I just knew at that moment it was on. Anyway. That's for another episode. He says, I'm not a bad looking guy. I can hold a conversation. I'm not broke. I'm not a jerk, but by every measure, I feel like I'm doing the considerate, mature thing. And I keep ending up in the same spot. 1 date and done. It's starting to mess with my head a little because I genuinely can't figure out what I'm doing that's turning these women off. And this is genuinely where I was when I had my epiphany about what I was doing wrong with women after Red Pill Chick, right? I had this exact same experience. I was able to get dates quickly, like no problem, because after I broke up with Red Pill Chick, I had lost a bunch of weight, like in that relationship, I'd lost 50 pounds. And the first time I found myself back on the dating circuit after my divorce, I was like 50 pounds overweight And I floundered, man. I had a terrible time on the dating circuit. And so the second time I was getting all these dates, and I was like, oh, it's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. And it wasn't, because of this type of stuff. I was sniper dating. I was pushing for exclusivity, like out the gate, right? That's got to be her job too. You can't be the one pushing for exclusivity. I was trying to set dates while I was on the current date. I was texting too fucking much. I was basically just being a needy little bitch. That's what I was, right? And I had to, and it was after maybe, I think I probably had like 2 or 3 experiences of that where I was just like, I am clearly doing something wrong, right? The 2 biggest relationships in my life failed. I'm struggling on the dating circuit. Like, I'm clearly the problem here. What am I doing wrong? And that's where I went on this deep dive of trying to study intersexual dynamics to figure this shit out. So you sponsoring an episode, you at least are at that stage where you're like, I'm clearly doing something wrong here. Like, I need to figure this out. So that's a good first step, brother. But that's how I know what you're doing wrong. I can see that. And you know what's funny? You're not the only guy that does this stuff. In fact, I just had a client call last week with one of my legacy dating clients. I still have a couple of legacy dating clients from my original program, and this guy's just kind of kept me on retainer this whole time. And periodically, he'll schedule a meeting, and I'm like, okay, cool. So what's up with you this time? And he was having a very similar problem to this, and so as I told him, I was like, no, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Have a go-to place. You don't want to be too needy out the gate. And that's really what you're doing here. He says, I don't even know what questions to ask anymore because everything I think is right doesn't seem to be working. And that's how a lot of guys end up in red pill, right? Because we're following all the blue pilled advice. We're following all the blue pilled dating and relationship stuff. We're listening to what women say they want, and we're getting nothing in return. Right? We're just spinning our wheels, and we're getting more and more frustrated. And that's what happens when you follow blue pill advice. Okay. So you got to do something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Right. So one more thing to keep in mind is you have to give these women time to wonder about you. Okay. You need to be a bit of a mystery. All right. It's been scientifically proven that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. Okay. Don't take my word for it. Google it. Okay. In fact, if you Google that exact phrase, you'll find the studies that they did on this sort of thing. Okay. So women like a mystery. They have to figure you out, and they have to do it in their own time. The more you give away, the more it's like giving a spoiler away to the end of a movie, and it ruins it. It ruins the whole experience for them. Like, women want to feel like they're in a love story that's slowly unfolding and shit, right? Like, guys just want to get laid. So that's the difference, is you have to provide this world for them and create this fantasy for them. Okay. Once you can do that, it will be like shooting fish in a barrel. Okay. So you need to be a bit of a mystery. You want them wondering if you like them or not. But when you're setting dates up still while on the current date, it gives everything away, right? They know that you like them. They know that you want to see more of them. And now they got the ick, right? Like, women are like cats, man. Right? The cats don't like people that like cats, right? Guys that are people that are obsessed with cats, and they're like chasing the cats around, like, oh, I just want to love you. Like, cats fucking hate that. But the people that ignore the hell out of cats, like the last person that wants a cat in their lap, that's who the cats gravitate towards. That's the same thing with women, right? If you act like you're indifferent to women and their beauty and all this kind of stuff, and you stop putting them on pedestals and you make them qualify to you, they like you more, right? Because you're treating them differently. You're not treating me like 97% of these other simps out here. You're acting different. You're almost treating me like a normal human. You're not treating me special. And I want to know why, right? Like, that's how women are. After you go for a kiss, don't say, text me when you get home, or say anything like that. Okay. Just go for a kiss. Okay. And then just say, hey, I'll reach out to you soon. I'll reach out to you soon. Don't give them a definite time like, hey, we should do this again sometime or anything like that. You really don't want them, you really want them to be wondering if you had a good time, if you like them or not. Okay. You've got to get them, you got to get that hamster wheel going. Okay. So go for a kiss. I mean, if she's perceptive, she'll realize you probably do like her if you went for a kiss, right? You wouldn't kiss her if you didn't like her. But still, go for a kiss. If she's receptive to that, just say, all right, cool. I'll reach out. I'll reach out soon. Okay. Reach out soon. That can mean you'll text her when you get home. It could mean you'll text her in 3 weeks. It's purposefully ambiguous. So she wonders, well, when are you going to call me? When are you going to text me? Right. And then don't text her when you get home. Don't text her when you get home. Okay. Don't tell her, hey, text me, make sure you got home. Okay. Don't do any of that stuff. Okay. Wait until the next day. I found this to be the sweet spot. Because other dating coaches, they'll say, wait a whole week. And like, that's too much time. In 2026, that's too much time. Okay. So I found if you wait until the next day, about 6 p.m. after the workday is over, it gives them all the next workday to wonder if you like them or not. And then you've got to give their hamster a place to escape the maze every once in a while. Okay. You can't keep them like up in their head and create this ball of anxiety all the time. Okay. So you want to release the hamster every once in a while. And so at the end of that period, like 6 p.m. the next day, just text her and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know I had a good time. And that's it. Don't be trying to set another date. Don't be trying to start a long text conversation. Just send her that and get the fuck off the phone. Okay. Yeah. Like get the fuck off the texting. Okay. Wait another 3 days, right? About 2 or 3 days before reaching out again. Okay. You've got to just break your addiction to texting. In the meantime, keep swiping, try to source new women. However you do that, go do cold approach, go do social circle game, whatever you're doing to source women. Okay. Besides dating apps. But otherwise, keep swiping on the dating apps and try to get other women lined up. You're trying to build up a pipeline. Okay. You got to look at this like sales. Salespeople don't just go after one customer and solely go after one customer. Okay. They're constantly working on all their customers and they're trying to build up a sales pipeline. That's essentially what you're doing. Okay. So while you're waiting to text her again in 3 days, set a calendar reminder and then try to source other women. And eventually you're going to build up a pipeline and you're going to have a roster. Okay. And then wait 3 days before reaching out again. When you reach out again, especially after a first date, it's going to be just like you met her for the first time on a dating app. You're starting the process all over again. You're going to reach out. It's best to reach out with like a callback to something you guys were laughing or joking about while on the date, maybe a funny meme that reminds you of something she said, whatever, however you want to break the ice, reopening, you got to grab her attention again. Okay. And then you banter no more 10, 15 messages before finding a segue to set the next definite date. If you do this all right, okay, if you've spiked her emotions enough on that first date, she's going to reach out first. She's going to reach out somewhere in those 3 days. But if she doesn't, don't worry about it. Most chicks aren't. Okay. You reach out, you start the process over again, you set the next definite date. Okay. And you're going to want to only see her once a week at most in the beginning. Okay. So that means you're not trying to set up the next date while you're still in the same week. You're trying to find her availability like next week, right? The next calendar week. All right. You want to give her space to wonder about you. And if you're a guy that has options with women, you're going to want to do that anyway, because you're dating multiple women. You're going to have time for these other women too. Okay. You gotta be able to spread the sugar around. You know what I mean? So you only want to wait. You only want to see her once a week in the beginning. You need to act like a guy with options until you actually become a guy with options. Okay. And then it's no longer an act and you don't have to like overthink this stuff. Okay. You'll just be acting like a guy with options because you'll be a guy with options. Okay. He goes, that's why I wanted to sponsor an episode on this. I need someone to tell me what I'm actually missing here because clearly I've got a blind spot. and I can't see it from where I'm standing. Brother, if you haven't yet, read my first book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. I break this whole process down to a fucking science, okay? This is the longest chapter in the book, and it's broken into sub-chapters, and it takes you soup to nuts, the dating process, how to build attraction, how to build what I call heat, healthy emotional anticipation and tension, so that you can build up a roster, okay? And it's available on Audible too. RP Thor, the late great RP Thor, did the audio narration for me, so it sounds a little weird because you got this gruffy old man talking in a gravelly voice and stuff like that. It's not me, but it's a good book. Get that. You can get it on Kindle also, okay? And I'll drop a link to that. But it's also in the description if you guys want to check that out. All right, let's see. We don't have a whole lot of people in the chat today. We got Ty in the house. He says, the where do you want to eat game never works. Just pick a place. Exactly. Yeah, that by itself was a game changer for me when I realized, wait, what do you mean? Like women just want to show up looking hot. That's a Corey Wayneism. Like women just want to show up looking hot. But the just pick a place, that was a Christopher Canwellism. You know, that's something I learned from him. But when I first read that, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? Women just want men to pick the place. Get out. No, that can't possibly be true. Right. Because I was blue pilled. And so then I started doing it. I would just pick a place, just pick a restaurant or whatever. And I've never gotten to a place where I'm arguing about that stuff ever again. And Nurse Chick, she's so well trained that if she knows what she wants to eat, she just suggests it. You know, she knows. So she and I have never had an argument about any of this stuff because she knows that if she doesn't pick a place, I'm fucking picking a place. She might not like it, but you know what? We're gonna go where I fucking say we're gonna go. Actually, she's never had a problem with the places we've got. She can always find a thing. You know what I mean? Brother John says 80-20. Yes. Oh, yeah. And on the date, you want to practice the 80-20 rule. Thanks for mentioning that. 80-20. You want to let her do 80% of the talking. You want to only do 20%. One, that makes life easier for you. Women love to talk, so just let them. And then all you have to do is just keep that ball rolling, keep her talking. Anytime she asks you about something, keep it vague. Keep it playful, joke about it. Don't ever give her the full answer and then flip it back on her and get her talking again. That keeps the mystery going. You want her going home going, man, I really like that guy. Oh shit, I don't know anything about that guy. I thought he was such a great communicator, but it was really just because you let her run her mouth the whole time. And then she starts internet stalking you. And if she's internet stalking you, who is she thinking about, brother? Okay, gotta play the game here. He didn't mention if he's letting her talk. He didn't mention that, but yeah, either way, don't be telling all these women all about yourself. Don't be an open book. You know, that's another big problem that guys, that's a big problem for me because I run my mouth. You could probably imagine I have a fucking podcast. I can run my mouth. And Nurse Chick, bless her heart, she doesn't even talk. So if I don't run my mouth, neither of us are talking. So anyway, she's not like other women. Most other women love to run their mouths. So let them, okay? Nurse Chick is in the house. She says, good afternoon, gentlemen. She always gets this one.
I'm so naughty.
Yes.
I'm gonna come.
Oh,
that pussy must be ridiculous.
It is, guys. And then John says, good afternoon, Nurse Chick. And Darfitner says, smashing that like button is alpha, gentlemen. Do it. Yes, definitely do that. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, hit those notifications, would you? And then, is this it? No, that's not what I want. Anyway, yeah. And then get the book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. It's available on Amazon or Audible. The link's in the description. If you guys want to sponsor a video too, you can sponsor a video by going to video.comeonmanpod.com. I'll answer your question just like my man here. All right. That's all I got, guys. Tune into the podcast tomorrow. We're going to talk about why rebound relationships are a terrible idea. Should be fun. A lot of you guys just don't know how to be alone, and it's just causing you more heartbreak. So let's fix that, shall we? Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll see you there.
You don't fix a storm by folding yourself. She don't want sweet, she wants a man who won't bail. No handouts, no talks, no playing play.